Well, the government calls it a spare room subsidy. The system brought in 100 days ago to try to reduce under-occupancy in social housing. Families on benefits who are deemed to have one more bedroom than they really need lose 14% of their income, rising to a 25% cut if they have two spare rooms. But to opponents, it has always been the bedroom tax, penalising some of the most vulnerable.
The government always promised it would protect those most in need. Under huge pressure, it's already been forced to offer some concessions. But tonight we reveal how the families of disabled people desperate for help to pay the spare room subsidy have been refused, and how they're cutting back on food and vital transport to plug the gap. I've been to Pembrokeshire to hear how one family is coping. Delighted to be at the beach, 13-year-old Warren Todd loves to get out and about. But for Warren and his grandparents who care for him, a few hours at the seaside is a massive expedition in a life where nothing is easy. Warren has a rare condition which has left him profoundly disabled.
I'm gonna get you up now.
His grandmother stepped in to care for him after his young mother couldn't cope. For Susan and her husband Paul, it's a 24-hour job.
He's a lovely young chap who is a delight most of the time, but he's very, very, very hard work. He can't walk, he can't talk. He's in nappies 24/7.
Going up?
Learning difficulties generally. And
but understands everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
The bungalow, which has been specially adapted, has been designated a home for life for Warren by the Housing Association. But it has 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
A carer does stay overnight, but not every night. So under government reforms, the family must now pay the spare room subsidy, or bedroom tax as it's called. For them, around £14 a week.
This is the spare room, yeah.
Okay.
And as you can see, there's stuff in here. It's not all
They've applied to their
here.
local council for a discretionary housing payment designed to protect the most vulnerable, but have been refused.
And this is where the carers
This
stay.
is where the carers stay, yeah.
But it still counts as a spare room.
Yeah, apparently.
According to new figures, the Rutherfords are not alone. Although the government promised an extra £25 million of additional funding for discretionary housing payments this year, it's up to the local councils to decide who gets them. 24 local authorities were surveyed. In almost a third, disabled people have been refused the emergency payment. Of those who were turned down, 9 out of 10 say they've been forced to cut back on food or paying bills as a result. And nearly 4 out of 10 say they're cutting back on specialist mobility transport.
It's throwing people's lives into utter turmoil. But the real irony is it's not going to save any money. If you have to put in new adaptations in a more expensive privately rented home rather than a socially rented one that you're already living in, that's just going to cost money. But the impact on the health service and other support services is going to be profound. This will not save the government money, it will cost the nation a huge amount.
The Rutherfords are devastated. They say they're being penalised for looking after Warren themselves rather than putting him into care at a huge cost to the council.
The government would argue we're in a time of austerity. Everyone has to take a cut. They've got to draw the line somewhere.
Well, we're saving them £5,000 a week. As simple as that. I mean, that gets me really angry and upset. It upsets you, doesn't it? Mm. The cost of to the council or the taxpayer or David Cameron or whoever, £5,000 a week. Do the maths, you know. And they're saying that we're under occupying. They're trying to make everything a hassle because all we're trying to do is look after Warren, and we don't need it. We just don't need the hassle.
As with all applications for discretionary help, Pembrokeshire County Council say the Rutherfords were subject to a financial test. In their case, it was decided they didn't qualify. With no specially adapted smaller properties to move to, they'll just have to pay up. They'll manage, but they say it's just another challenge in a life which is tough enough already.